The second ever 58 keys and the 19th and the 137th were each about different ways that we could transcribe interviews and recordings, things we need to get down the words from. You know what transcribe means. Things we had to transcribe. Well, I was going to say painlessly, but there were 3 editions, and it was like just increasingly painlessly. I don't believe the 58 Keys has covered any other topic 3 times, and now it hasn't covered transcription 3 times either, because there's got to be a 4th. This is so important to you and me as writers. I mean, whether, if you're journalists, interviewing, it seems maybe obvious, but interviewing for any non-fiction or talking to somebody interesting on background for your novel, your screenplay, you want to gobble up every word they say, and then you want to read it and you want to use it, you want to quote it, all this stuff. Transcription. Interviews brilliant, transcriptions required, and now there is something new. Something new and something so very good. Hello, I'm William Gallagher and this is 58 Keys, which as ever, as always, it's for writers like you and me who use and who write on Macs and iPhones and iPads. Do subscribe or support 58 Keys on Patreon because, well, there is so much to talk about and seemingly to transcribe. No, that is distracting me. Stop it. Hello. You get what any transcription app does. You whack a microphone in front of somebody, you ask them a question, they talk, hopefully they're interesting. The app types up whatever it is they say, interesting or not. And this one, I love this one as much. You can load an already completed interview, an audio recording or a video one into a transcription app, and it then types up everything everyone says on the recording. What matters for any transcription app, or actually any transcription service really, is, there's how accurate they are, there's how expensive, how reliable, and I suppose also, just how easy are they to use? Because if you can't use something, it could be brilliant, but it's worthless. See Microsoft. So the short answer today of what I want to talk to you about is that there is a new Mac app, by the way, really key, Mac only, not iPhone and iPad as well, called Whisper Transcription, and it's very accurate. Not perfect, of course, but very good. It's definitely easy to use. Reliability, it is new, and I've only had it for a couple of weeks now, but it's been perfectly solid in that time. And the cost, it's free. And I mean free. It's not like there's some temporary free trial to Whisper Transcription. There isn't some limit on how much transcription you can do for free. There are paid versions and there are reasons to use them, but there are also, actually, I think more urgently, there are reasons to not use Whisper Transcription at all. There are these circumstances where either it's not the right one to use or it isn't yet the right one to use. So, first, how to get and use it, then when not to. You get Whisper Transcription from the Mac App Store, and the first time you open it, you have to choose a language transcription model. A model is like machine learning or AI training. It's the globule that Whisper uses, the quality of technical information. Look, Whisper uses a model. It uses one model at a time as it tries to figure out what you're saying so that it can type it up. There is this quite long list of choices you've got to make, but actually it boils down to, well, at first, whether you want it to understand multiple languages, which you would think you would, or just English. There's then this thing of supposedly, just going by the descriptions, whether you're in a hurry or not. If you're only going to be interviewing people in English, like unfortunately I am, choose just the English one. That's because it's reportedly better when it's a single language, whatever that single language is. At the moment only English is offered, but surely there'll be others on their own in the future. I imagine what happens is that it's quicker because it's not having to compare every syllable you say with many. Is it French? Is it English? It's going to be English. Let's get on with that. And then as for this thing, the tiny, base and small options, all of that, well, I can't actually see why for the free version you'd choose anything other than small. I mean, it's called small, but it's the biggest one available, the biggest unless you pay for Whisper. And then when you do, there's one called medium. Where is large? None of these are slow. I don't care what the description there says. None of these are slow, and if they were, it would still be lifetimes faster than you or I winding back tapes a few seconds, listening, typing a word, wind back. Did I get the word right? Yeah. So, yeah. From that long list, choose just English, choose small, and then we're ready to go. And what we do when we're ready to go is click on new recording and we start yapping. Or your interviewee does. You start your interview, you ask a question, away off they go. This is all you see while you are talking, but then when you're done, you click that stop recording button. And then your interview starts appearing in text, a line or two at a time, as Whisper works its way through the audio. I haven't found yet any limit to how long you can record, by the way, which is important. Some services limit you or charge you depending on the length. And yeah, okay, naturally the transcription isn't going to be perfect, but let me come back to that. Because I think more useful, I mentioned this before about files and dragging in completed recordings, but so much more useful than getting your interviewee to sit closer to your microphone is this thing, the open files section. You see that list of MP3, WAV and so on at the bottom. Those are the types of audio or video that Whisper can work with, but really they're the ones you would expect it to. I only looked at the list to talk to you. Just record an interview on your iPhone or anything, make a YouTube video, and then whatever you've got, when you're done, drag that file into Whisper and watch it fly. Well, you don't have to watch it fly. You could just go make tea and a biscuit instead, because it is going to take a little while. Obviously depends on the length of the interview, a few seconds, a few minutes, but you know, whatever it is, I would rather be able to just walk off and make some tea than do the winding and the transcription and what does that work, and just, yeah, been there. Can you see the history in this? Hundreds, possibly into the thousands, the low thousands of interviews over the years done that laborious manual way. No wonder I love this stuff, this magic transcription thing. Anyway, when Whisper is done working through your audio video file, then the result is the same as if you've just spoken into it. You see every line transcribed, and again, yeah, not perfect, but it's very good. Okay. There is a lot you can do now to your transcribed text right there in Whisper, including just changing the font size to make it more readable. Yeah, I like the original size I got, the small one, the default one, and I cannot get it to go back to that. So, oh, what does this button do? Increases the font size. How do I get it back? But also, directly in Whisper, you can search and replace. So, for example, you're looking through the transcription, you see that it always thinks your interviewee said Max, M-A-X, instead of Max, M-A-C-S. Well, then you can just change all of that in one go. And hope your interviewer isn't named Max, but that's a different problem. Semi-usefully, you can also tell Whisper that you had 2, 3, 30 people speaking, and you can name them. You can create tags and labels for them. Yeah, it's only semi-useful because then to use that information, you have to go through the transcript, clicking on every line and then right-clicking to say, this sentence was by so-and-so, this one was by so-and-so, else you're not going to do it. Even if you do, though, yeah, the thing is, you don't have to remember for yourself who said each line, whether or not it's a laborious labeling or later when you're actually trying to use the information. You don't have to remember who said which thing because of the play button. Hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is 58 Keys, which, as always, is for writers like you and me who use and who write on Macs and iPhones and iPad. Scroll to any part of the transcript, hover over any segment, any line, and you get controls that include a play button. Click on that and you will hear the audio playing back for that segment. It's audio whether you spoke into it, whether you recorded an audio file, whether you recorded a video file, audio is kept and it's right there for you. It's low quality, but it's there and it's audible enough for you to identify the speaker that presumably you met, or at least tell speakers apart, and to hear what they actually said if there's some issue with how the transcription has slightly failed. You saw, though, that when you do hover over a segment, you get more controls than just play. One of those there lets you delete the line. One is a star, and I presume that's for marking a sentence as just, oh, fantastic, brilliant, loved it. Yeah, I don't know. There's also copy. Yeah, there I don't know either. Why would you want to copy one single line out of this transcript, because it's often not even a complete line. It's like half a sentence at a time, but you can. And then there's the edit button, the icon showing there with an A and a cursor next to it. No, don't bother. You can click on that. It will let you edit that line you're on to make a little change, a little. You can't change a quote, but you know what I mean. You can fix a transcription error that way, yeah. But this is better. It seems to be getting better. There's just been a new update, and I think it's improved this. But when I first started, I had peculiar problems with this. You'd click on the line, okay, select it, and you go, well, I want to change that word, but the cursor would go over there, kind of thing. And it's just wildly out of control. Doesn't matter though. The far better, far more useful thing to do is get the whole transcription out of Whisper and into your text editor or your word processor of choice, with the place where you're going to be working on this text, this transcription. And you do that with the big export button. But the big export button requires you to choose how will Whisper export your text. Yeah, I honestly don't care at this stage. All I ever want is the text. I'm going to quote from it somewhere, or maybe just read it somewhere later on. It's not a big deal to me what form it comes out in. But I know, for instance, that SRT, that's really useful. That's the file format used for subtitles online, on DVDs, if you remember those, on YouTube. So, yeah, you can immediately see a value in that. But I suggest, most of the time for you and I as writers, you're going to choose text with paragraphs. So, dump it out that way. Making a new recording. Easy. Dragging an audio or video file in to be transcribed. Gorgeously easy. Gorgeously. Oh, and I should say again, I cannot find a limit to the length of video or audio recording, or the number of audio recordings and files that you can transcribe. Speed is fine. The editing of the transcript, okay, then that's a bit wobbly at times, but I truly do not believe there's ever a reason to edit in Whisper, not since we'll always be doing further edits in something else like Pages or Word or Scrivener or something like that. And as I say, Whisper is free. I think you can see in my face and maybe hear in my voice that I'm building to a but not really. Actually, it's more like I'm building to, can I build to an and, or maybe a yet? You should definitely get the free Whisper transcription for your Mac. No hesitation. No hesitation and some urging. It's that good. Plus, everything you've seen so far has been with the free version. I have now paid for the Pro Edition, which gets you a bigger model, that machine learning or AI training core of this. I've got the medium one. Why? Seriously, when will large come? I want large. Don't understand what it means, but I still want it. You buy the Pro version, the paid version, by clicking on the Upgrade to Pro button. And yeah, actually, this is a bit naff. It's a bit clunky. When I decided I was going to do it, I could not find that Upgrade to Pro button. It's in your face all the time, but when I wanted it, it had vanished. I had to quit Whisper Transcription and restart it to get the button back. I know that sounds trivial, but then there's a bit more trivial, and enough trivial things start to get irritating. When I did it, when I clicked that upgrade button, it showed me two options. A £9, I'm in the UK, so £9.99, and a $19.99 lifetime one. In the States, it's $9.99 and $19.99. In neither case do I have any idea what the $9.99 version is. Presumably, since the $19.99 one is lifetime, can I just call it 20 and 10? The $10 one, the £10 one, is not lifetime, but good luck finding out. And look there at that description of the text. It doesn't even fit on the screen, so you can't read the rest. I imagine the rest actually probably explains the differences, but how are we ever going to know? Plus, irritation 3, when I did choose the lifetime one, because it's £20, I'm going to use this so much, more than worth it. Whisper took my money, but for a moment pretended that it hadn't. I went in, I deleted the small model I've been using because I wanted to choose the medium one, that my Pro Edition. Now got me in, it said, no, you have to upgrade before you can use that one. It also stuck me in that. I had to choose something. So rather than choose small again and wait for it to download, I ended up force quitting Whisper and then restarting it to get it to recognise that, yes, I am a paying customer. So all of this, it's a bit naff, a bit clunky, but it works. This is not, though, the reason that I, at the present anyway, will not switch fully 100% over to Whisper for all of my transcription needs. Probably going to do it for about 70%, though, something 70, 80%. I said that Whisper uses a machine learning or AI model. The thing is, actually, really, this was an AI app. That's what it's developed to be, and it's been kind of contorted a bit into being useful, into being a transcription one. I get the impression from what I hear about it is that it was made for developing AI technology. They were using it as an exploration of it, and then someone found an actual use for it. No question, good on them. It is an excellent use. But sometimes I have this impression that that makes us still more interested in the technology testing than they are in making a transcription. I mean, I could be wrong, and it's hard to say why. I get this feeling that Whisper will not be one of these things that has regular, gigantic updates. But then, shrug. What we have right now in Whisper Transcription is excellent. It is exceptional. But notice this line again. When you're talking and you're recording your microphone, future versions will show transcripts live. I need that, but I need it now. One of the uses I regularly have for transcriptions is when I'm writing about something like Apple has a quarterly earnings call. Apple gets on that. It's a corporation. It has to do things. It gets on the phone, says as little about its finances as it is legally allowed to do. Then it takes questions that it has to, and it gets off the line again as soon as it is fulfilled whatever its corporate responsibilities are. Fun. At any point during that hour-long call, if I'm working on it, if I'm assigned to it, I can be commissioned to write a news story about a bit that's mentioned in there. I cannot wait then for Whisper to finish the recording of the whole hour and then process it. I need to be able to see the transcription right now and scroll back up to get the really good quotes that I need. Cannot do that with Whisper. Can do it. Have often done it. Actually, 3 years now. Always do it with otter.ai. This is the service that, I've been dependent on it for 3 years now. Otter was the reason for the 137th 58 keys about transcription. It wasn't the 137th about transcription, it was, Otter transformed my transcribing interviews from nightmare to so easy that I just interview more people now, practically on a whim. Plus, otter.ai has an advantage that it's online and on an iPhone app. So I can use its online version on any Mac, on any computer, and I can use the iPhone one anywhere, all the time. I get really twitchy about interviews because there's something that if they go wrong, rarely can you do anything about it. You usually can't just do them again. I wrote a whole book about interviewing for writers. By the way, I should pop the link in the description for it. And that does actually mention an awful time I had when BBC recording equipment went wrong. And then later there's another one where it's my fault and my equipment went wrong. I always recommend having two recorders. Two recorders of any type. Your iPad with your notes on it next to your iPhone. Portable recorders. Anything at all. But if one of them is an iPhone, then to now, I can't imagine I'm stopping this unless Whisper brings out a Mac iPhone version. Anyway, on an iPhone, right, I will just run otter.ai during the interview. Just as with Whisper, it records the audio well enough for you to hear. Not remotely good enough for broadcast. So yeah, it can't be your only recording, and I suppose depending on what you're going to use the interview for. But otter.ai is very good, and it can be with you on your iPhone anywhere. Actually, Otter is so good. It does raise an issue, I think, of whether it's worth using Whisper at all. But like I say, I am using it. I've just paid for the pro version of Whisper. I clearly think it's useful. Use it is worth it. That's the phrase I was groping for there. And, well, is this a bad thing? It's actually the price that sold me in the end. Otter.ai, as much as I love it, it's a subscription service that costs from $8.33 per month if you pay annually, all these sort of things, more per individual month. Totally worth it, totally. Except in my case, I tend to go in waves. I might well have a month where I'm doing 20 interviews and I need all of them transcribed, but then I might not do anything at all with interviews for half a year, maybe more. So with otter.ai, what I've been doing is I will subscribe for the month that I need it and then cancel the subscription. And even without a subscription, otter.ai is generous with how many recordings you can make in it. Yeah, you can also do this thing of dragging audio video files to transcribed. The free version of Otter used to limit you to 1 or 2 files a month, but now it's looking like it doesn't even do that. So you would have to pay for that, and it is certainly worth it. The day I found that out, oh, um, Whisper Transcription, well, like I say, it lets you drag in any number of audio video files, whether you're paying or not, and they can be of any length as far as I can see so far. I'm going to continue to use otter.ai for when I need live transcription. I think I'll definitely also, well, will I? I'll almost certainly use it when I need to record an interview on my iPhone, since there's no iPhone version of Whisper. But just talking to you there, it suddenly occurs to me what I could do is just record the interviews in higher quality audio only, and then later drag that file into Whisper when I'm back at my Mac. Yeah, actually, maybe it's Whisper 90% then. This is getting good. Okay, so I said 90%-ish, probably is, and I know I've also criticised it a bit, but I think it's just overall, I'm so impressed with Whisper Transcription. I mean, I love it, and I think you will at least like it a lot. To go that stage further in your ardour to love Whisper, I think you need to have transcribed interviews the old-fashioned way, and I would not wish that on anyone. If you have never experienced the wonder of winding back a tape recording a few seconds, transcribing a few words, and then doing it again over and over until you're sure you've got every single word written down from your interview, well then, good. Keep it that way. Yeah, don't go near this. Yeah, kids today, that's it for this edition of 58 Keys. Thank you very much for watching. Now take care of yourself. Write more, transcribe more, and I'll see you soon.